All right, welcome to the show. Welcome, Tomias. Glad to have you.
Hello, thanks. Nice to be here.
So the first question that I have, okay,
Okay.
let me just share. So right now I'm in Georgia in the United States.
Okay.
It's 5:42 a.m. And where are you?
I'm in Manchester, England. Uh, should be 10:42. Yeah, so
10:42 a.m. your time, 5:30 my time. And I just want to read through here. I just want to read through here the Batphones that I got uh, overnight. This is my time. Tomias is 5 hours ahead of me. Okay. So when I read these times, add 5 hours, do some quick math. We got yesterday at 5:13, 5:49 p.m., 6:23, 7:05 p.m., 7:57 p.m., 10:48 p.m., and then 12:05 a.m. today. These are all bat phones that you sent out.
well, I mean, I knew I had this chat with you this morning, so I needed to get all of the mobs down. For the first time ever, open world's completely dead. There's no chance of us being interrupted. I'm taking this very seriously, man.
Oh yeah. How, dude? How do you do it?
I've just been very lucky that my sleeping schedule was bang on with the server up and down yesterday, barring I think one I missed a Jackalix because I just passed out on the couch. But
What's it like? How does it look like on your end like what are you looking? Do you have a character parked somewhere or how do you know how to track or when these things happen?
yeah, so I've got my laptop and my main computer. My laptop has my monk on, which I generally have flopped and like angled so that I can see the charm bird locations because they're generally the things that pop most often. Uh, and then, but generally somebody sends me a tell and say this is up, and then Batphone start running the main guy over. But I try to keep somebody in the right zone so that I can just invite them first. So when I send out the invite, even if I'm not in zone yet, everybody else who's zoned in should zone straight into the right pick.
And you're doing this through the you're in game doing it through the raid tool.
What, like inviting my characters and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a normal. Just send them a group invite, and then I send the mass guild invite with just a guild tool.
So I want to kind of get I'd like to get your EverQuest story. You know, what you love about the game today. What is it that keeps you coming back today to start with from the beginning to now?
Okay. Uh, I mean, the very, very beginning, I didn't really play much. I think my brother Philidar uh, picked up just after Velia's launch. And I remember he saw it at a friend's house and he came back and he told me about it. And like all these people, different characters. And I'm just like, yeah, all right. Sounds a lot like BS. Like, yeah, you're playing with people all over the world, whatever. Like, that's obviously what it was like in 2000s. And then I saw him play it and it was just like, oh, that's pretty neat. But uh, we only had the one computer uh, and we generally played like late at night after we'd been like out all day playing football and like smoking weed and shit. And like, I was just really high. So I just like draw, play guitar, write stories and shit. And Phil would spend hours and hours looking at stuff on Zam and reading stats to me that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Uh, I didn't actually start playing an MMO until Everquest 2
Oh,
properly. Like, I mean, I had like a bar that I got to like 7 or 8, and I created a load of characters, but I didn't play properly until EQ2. Uh,
how
uh,
what's the age difference between you and your brother?
uh, 10 months.
Oh wow, y'all are right there.
Yeah, like he was like the eldest in our year at school, and I was the youngest. So
You were in the same grade too?
yeah,
Wow.
uh, we're on different sides of the school year purposefully because we made sure we the way they do it in England is based off what foreign language you choose to learn. Like there's a choice of three. So we just made sure we chose a different one, and then that way we are like split up in school as much as humanly possible. Because
Okay, your brother's playing and you're doing your own thing, just kind of it's in the periphery. And then EverQuest 2 comes out and you try, is that your first MMO?
yeah, the first one properly played, as I say, like we dabbled with Conan and others, but more than anything, I was not much of a PC gamer at the time. I much more preferred my console stuff when we did play. Like we used to like drag the TV from downstairs up into one of the bedrooms, and then like sit there and have a dual screen playing through Resident Evil 2. And like, so obviously we're both going through it as quickly as possible. As soon as we finish, it's a quick race. Like we're trying to finish both completions through within like the night. So like as soon as it went down to sunset, we start killing zombies, and it's like, bro, it's gone midnight. We've not even gone on to second disc. We're in like serious troubles there, you know, like, and that's really what I like about gaming now and always then. It's just like finding some really obscure, difficult challenge that there's no real point to doing other than saying, yeah, we did that though.
Yeah, you've got some great videos up of you and your brother taking down Vox and Nagy, just the two of you. I think you're an enchanter and he's a Shadow Knight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Vox and Nagy thing has been something that we've been working on for like years and years because we wanted to get a two-man kill on a mitigation of the mighty Vox and Nagy, but every time we'd tried it previously, like just didn't get close, didn't get, and we're getting closer and closer each time. Uh, but like it all started because like years and years ago when we were doing one of our first TLPs, we heard about somebody managed to free man Finney in Velius, and like we're just like mind blown. Like imagine just three people killing a raid boss, like so. But we're just like, well, three people can do it. Do you reckon two people could?
Wow.
And then we started thinking like, what's the different strats? And uh, in the end, I think I had the mana robe, and there was some sword, the Chinair sword, I forget what it's called, that Phil had. That just we thought we'd have a shot with it, and we ended up managing to do that. And it's just like, okay, so, and then we spent 5 years dying in permafrost.
Wow, so this has been a long journey.
I mean, obviously we do other stuff, but every time when we're at this early part of the servers on the servers that we play, when it's just us two, it's just like, so that should try and kill her. Like, maybe this will be the time. Maybe this will be the time. So,
So the thing that made the difference in the one video I watched was the killing blow. What was it that made it? Was that the thing that just the luck of it landing, or what do you think? How did you clear it this time versus all the other times?
uh, to be honest with you, I don't think we tried a two-man in Planes of Power era before. Like, uh, because we wrongly thought that the mitigation of the mighty buff fell off in Planes of Power. So, like, when we'd not been able to do it in Velius or the other times previously, we've just been like, oh, well, that's that then. And just moved on and found a different thing to work on. But I didn't have her dead at all, like for my achievement list. So just like, oh, should we go kill her? And she still had the mitigation of the might on. It's just like, okay. game on, you know, like
Yeah.
uh, I find that buff a bit of a like affront because like it's designed specifically to stop you from doing small man stuff. So I love the fact that we can go and do small man stuff to it. It's just like, yeah, screw your buff.
Yeah. So what so let's go back to EverQuest 2.
Mm-hmm.
What so that was you were used to playing Resident Evil 2, you're used to gaming mostly on the console. What was that like? What happens once you start playing EverQuest 2?
Uh, like the gameplay was okay. Like it was my first MMO experience, so like I quite enjoyed like the leveling and the gearing characters and all that. And like my first proper time doing that in a proper MMO as opposed to like these like one player or two player storyline co-op games. Uh, but then the second that I got into a guild, and then like we are chilling in the guild hall in EverQuest 2, which is like a big feature of it. And it was just like loads of people just chatting in voice, and it's just like the social aspect really connected then. And it's like, oh yeah, and like pretty much stopped playing one player games after that. It's like, no, I want to play with other people, like cooperatively and doing something together to either achieve something or have some shared trauma. Both are bonding experiences, you know?
Yes. Very important to be a fully realized human being. You need some trauma and you need some joy.
Exactly. So test the balance.
Uh-huh. So you get hooked into the social aspect of the playing. Um, where are you at in your life at this time? Is it how old are you and what progresses from there?
Uh, Probably would have been in my early 20s. Uh, wasn't working a massive amount, like I was doing like part-time stuff and uh, well, nothing really solid career-wise. And then I got a opportunity to be sales manager and eventually ran a chain of like travel agents and online businesses for this guy. But that like took all of my time. So like outside of like a cursory half hour of gaming here or there, like I completely stopped playing computer games. Uh, wasn't until about 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, started having a lot of time free up and I was like dipped back into computer games a little bit and uh, decided to retrain as a nurse. So went to university as a mature student, but like I saved up money beforehand, so I didn't need to work. I just had time to study, was what I thought, because like I was going to work really, really hard at university. Uh, and round about that time, me and Phil started dipping into live servers on EQ and just seeing what we could do just the two of us and what kind of level we could get to on live. And then we heard about the TLPs. So we joined a TLP, but I can't remember which one it was now. Ragefire, I want to say. Anyway, it was about 10, 12 years ago. And I remember I just about got to level 60 and they were locked in Velius era. I was like, I finally got to level 60. It's like my first max character in Everquest. I was like, yes, I finally got, I'd achieved something in this annoyingly difficult game at the time. And then like a new server was like launching like the next day.
Oh.
Just like, we should go join the new server because everyone's going to be there. It's just like, oh, but my guy, my guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started a new character like 2 days later, and that began the TLP grind of every time there's a new server, just like, oh, guess we're starting again.
So that's you kind of do that. You'll go, you and your brother were doing that in the beginning 10 years ago, beginning times.
Yeah, for quite a few of the servers, and then Aradune, we made like a proper stand in the ground that whatever server came next, we weren't going to play it.
Oh, so you were gonna stay in
Mhm.
Eridu.
So we missed Mischief and Salo,
Oh, okay.
which in retrospect was a terrible idea.
Yeah, well, what happened when you stayed? I mean, I know we were chatting on Discord. You've been a guild leader before with your brother, right?
We'd never ran guild before. We'd done raid leading and like uh, Moorfield did more raid leading than I did, to be fair. But we had like a when we were in Rampage, they started doing like these small man's things. But there was like a couple that were being run, but they were really cliquey. Like they'd invite people, and then they'd very rudely tell them that they weren't invited back again. And like could see it was kind of like ripping this very fractious guild apart and trying our best to keep it together because second the guild dies for us, that's pretty much the server dead for us. Like we're not the sort of people who go and like hop and join another guild. Like we put a lot of time and effort into whichever guild we roll with, you know, and we make that choice really carefully. Uh, but yeah, so we just started running a everybody's welcome small man. So then we ended up having like 30, 40, 50 people turning up 3, 4 nights a week to just raid out of era content for the lols and just had something to do. So
That's fun. What server was that on?
that was still on Aradine.
Okay.
So like we did a chrono competition called Chiva Mania where we got uh, basically it was a raffle to see who would win the chronos. And to get a raffle ticket, you had to be in raid and kill a named that hadn't been killed yet in any zone of Everquest. And the idea was it was to help people get the hunter achievements by just basically sending all these guys off to whichever zone they wanted to get to kill as many named as possible as we could in like 2, 3 hours or whatever. And then at the end of it, people all had their lottery tickets, and then we did the lottery and somebody won.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was really good fun. And like we did the Pirates of Gunfark raid as well. But like it was by that point we were with that CQ baby. So all of the but like we had friends in Rampage and we knew people in other guilds, and it was literally anyone was welcome. So we had like 9 or 10 different guilds show up to do this really trivial content and troll each other and talk smack back and forth, and just because that's what MMO is all about, like the multiplayer aspect for me. It's all about the social stuff, and like it's why I like the Batphone, as toxic as it can be when you're going against other people and all the rest of it. It's the same thing. Like it's either a shared achievement or shared trauma. Either way, it's a bonding experience.
That's so true. Um, yeah, so what you said when you joined the server this time, you said that you weren't gonna do that, right? Is that correct? You were
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna play and I'm not gonna get into the bat. I'm gonna try to be relaxed this time.
yeah. I very specifically said that that was the only condition that I would play this server was that I would not get drawn into the Batphone gameplay.
How did it happen?
uh, Pretty much got goaded into it, if I'm being perfectly honest. Obviously, before we joined Rampage, we used to be with Relentless Insomnia and Vicious for quite a few servers. And then around the time that this server got launched, he just started trolling me and my brother, like inviting us into his Discord server and kicking us back out again, inviting us and kicking us back out again. Uh, there's like a stupid video that Van der Vin did that was like taking the piss out of something, like just really, really small, insignificant, petty shit. It just kind of got under my skin a little bit. And then Alfonso was in our static group for the opening launch race and shared trauma. Uh, he suggested us to Zaid to do the Batphone, and Vicious had literally just trolled me like the day before. And then that question came through. It's just like, what? Give Vicious a bloody nose? I'm all about that life.
Wow. So you got it. You got it because I guess the competition was pressing your buttons.
Yeah, I really wish it hadn't have. I wasn't so easily baited, but is what it is.
How'd you fall into Faceless?
Uh, when we decided we were doing the server, we had a look at the ads for the various different guilds. Obviously, knew of Zaid, played very briefly in the Mandalorian guild that they did, the live off the land.
Yeah, was that
That's what
this
they call that. They solo
solo
self found.
self-found? Yeah.
Yeah, so played in that for a little bit and seemed like a nice enough guy. Uh, and the advert was just all of the things that we wanted, like time wise for raids, only raiding 2 nights a week because screw 3 nights a week. Uh, Want to play and do other stuff. Uh, so yeah, just everything about it was exactly what it was, what we were looking for. And then the thing that really, really sold it, that we 100% made the right decision, was we did the one of the pre-events for the Niki food items, and bloody Vicious and a couple of the RI people came into the Vaniki server and started trolling in and out of character, like talking about, all he's got is charisma and the fact that he can be nice to people. It's just like, shit, man. That's a low bar that you can't clear. Don't be talking about not people being able to be nice to people. It's just like kind of like a requirement.
Yeah.
So, and it 100% has been the right call. Like, Faceless is easily the best guild I've ever been in.
I want to ask you about that. So, we met on Teak. This was I played with Faceless on Mischief, and I got goaded into it by Zaid. He was on a podcast, my favorite podcast. He was on as a guest, and he was basically like, if you haven't played EverQuest, if you're thinking about EverQuest, if you're listening to the show and you like EverQuest, you need to get the game again and you need to play on Mischief. It's going to be off the chain. You can kill all the dragons. Well, we're clearing all the content. All your wildest dreams can come true. Join Faceless. And I was sold because I'd never seen any of this stuff. So I was listening to the guys on the show talk about it, and my EverQuest memories from an earliest age, I never got higher than like level 45 through even in Luckland. So the idea that it was possible to do these things was extremely attractive. And I installed it the next day and then joined up with Faceless and played through Mischief until I stopped in Plains of Power. And then my best friend since the third grade, who introduced me to EverQuest, told me about or convinced me to play Teak with him. So I rejoined for this server, and then went right back to the guys that I got to know in Faceless, and that's how we met. Because I was on comms on Discord, and you were raid leading, and you said something at the end of the raid that I've never heard anyone say, and it was very sincere and very. It wasn't fake. You said, if somebody hasn't told you that they love you, I do, and I want you to know that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Um, I used to at the end of the raids because we're always fighting against RI. Say win or lose, no one says nothing. Words to that effect, just maybe because I was super paranoid all the time, but people would end up getting themselves banned for one fight. It's just like it's multiple fights, not one. Uh, and when I obviously I took a little bit of time off, and when I came back and started raid leading again, like it's pretty much the end of our ride. There's nobody to. It's just like, well, no one's going to say anything in out of character because it's only us here in zone. And it's like it didn't, but I still needed to say something at the end, and it. Uh, I heard somebody else say it on something. I can't even remember where I heard it, but it was literally just before I did a Batphone, and I was just like, huh. I wonder how many people haven't heard it because like you sit online, play computer games, like you might talk to your mates on like WhatsApp or Facebook or social media, but that's not really the right venue for that sort of thing. And so just like in a mood and tried it and got a really good reaction from people. And I was just like, well, I'll keep saying it because it is true. Like, um, the purpose of having the bat phone to ring and get people up has been quite useful to me over the last few months, particularly over after the festive period and stuff. Without getting too deep and too heavy, suffered quite a lot of loss over the summer and wasn't looking forward to the winter at all, which is why I decided I was just going to throw myself into the bat phone and just make the box players suffer for it. And I wouldn't be able to do that if there wasn't a dozen to 100 people turning up in zone when I send a message on band. So,
Mm. Yeah, I can. There's something about it. I mean, I'm 37 years old. I've been through a good bit of pain and loss and grief in my life, and um, it's just I recognize that we never know where anybody else is at, and that really is the truth. Um, you don't know if people hear it enough. You don't know if people feel it, And there's been stretches in my life. I mean, there was a stretch from 2000 and I'm a sober guy, so I've been sober. That's how I can generally do a timeline of my life. Or
mhm.
when I was 5 years sober, I went about 3 years where every morning I woke up and wished I didn't exist, and it was a fight every day. I mean, it was waves, but I needed to do something just to distract myself from the pain that existed within me.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never really been great. I mean, I've been good in recovery type stuff, sharing what's going on, but a lot of times I've never felt really connected to people.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know. There's just the idea that because of the shared interest, because of the intimacy of being in a guild and being part of a group that's trying to do something, things like care can show up or you hope they can show up in ways. And I don't know. I just when I heard you say it, I was like, well, this is definitely a guy I want to talk to because I'm just curious to learn more about how a person can get to that space.
I mean, Everquest, I feel, is quite unique a game in that it gives you it kind of hard lines, like for the people who played like to the ridiculous extent that we do, poop socking mobs and doing like if you're going to play the minimum your XP grind is going to be is 4 hours because everybody's got a pot running and but I feel like it like you fast track through what might take, say, like a first person shooter gamer group, like the bond that they get over like months and months. We do in a launch weekend, you know, like I'd never met Alfonso before doing our launch grind through Classic and Kunark. By the end of it, we'd fallen in love and fallen out and gone to war with each other and with everybody else like 5 or 6 times. Like there's a from nowhere you've got an established bond, even if it's only like what 3 4 days worth. It's such a intense period of time with very little sleep. You see everybody at their very worst and their very best, and like I say, it's shared trauma is a hell of a feeling.
Have you always played EverQuest with your brother this way when you join guilds, like the competition aspect and the I don't know if you listen to the one of the I had Jadwin on and he's when he plays he'll commit to 48-hour sessions and things like that.
Yeah, pretty much since like second TLP. Yeah, the second TLP, the one that I told you, obviously, I had the first catch, I got to max, and then we just we naturally hit it hard. Like if something when we were playing it, like, well, we'll just keep going and we'll keep going until we crash, and that's why we end up playing with Americans so much because they're the only people who run at 4 o'clock in the morning our time because it's 11 o'clock at night, and but then we still have to find the hardcore ones who want to play to 4 o'clock in the morning because we want to play to 8 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's a vicious circle because then we start waking up and start dragging people through. But yeah, like we've particularly the launch races and the expansions and stuff like that. Like we've always gone as hard as we possibly could do, and always end up like amongst the first group of people into each area. So you stay ahead of the curve with like you take that nap at the wrong time, you wake up and every camp is picked, and like you can't get it, can't swing your sword for running into another group, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of cool that you've got your brother with you and it's almost like you guys are a shared mind. It's have you played without him before or are you guys kind of a tag team?
100% tag team. Uh, like when we chose to play D in China and SK, like a lot of thinking went through. Like we dual chose a class. Like it wasn't a case of oh I want to play this, I want to play this, and seeing what worked. It was like what is going to be the best 2 man combination for us to do as much as we can on our own and not have to, especially because we have unusual lifestyle schedules and sleep patterns, which is why we can do Batphones and ridiculous raiding schedules. And it's hard to find like-minded. Well, it was hard at the time to find like-minded people. And the guilds that we joined, like we didn't think we were hardcore at the time, so we joined all the casual guilds, and then would end up raiding 4 or 5 nights a week, like Jadwin was saying. It's just like, uh, what is your definition of hardcore and casual? Because the hardcore players that I know who play the hardest play the fewest nights a week because they get all their content done super quick and then they go off and play a million and one other games because they're that hardcore.
Right.
Whereas the casual players end up spending every free moment of game time playing just the one game because they're doing it slowly, and which to each their own. But so like we realized that wasn't our pace and we needed to find more like-minded people, which is how we ended up with in the Batphone guilds.
Right. Yeah. That's yeah, that's that we yeah, we were talking about that because like it's how you like to play the game. You don't you the socializing is definitely a big piece of it, and the connections are going to get formed, but the actual gameplay of EverQuest, you like to push it. You like to push it to its limit.
Yeah, and like we've struggled pretty much our entire EQ playing of finding healers who like to play with us because we don't stop. And we have the thinking of like if we're in an XP group and the healer's running out of mana, well, healer, you med up. We'll do other stuff to mitigate the damage as best as possible so that it never stops them. And as soon as you're up and ready to heal, we're already in camp taking hits. You're straight back because that's how we would play whatever class we're doing. Like if Phil's pulling, he's putting the next mob in at 20% so that it's fair, ready to go when we are like as minimal downtime as possible. And so there's more than a few healers who have like rage quit static groups with us because they just refuse to play
To be
with us that way.
Yeah, to be active. I mean, it's a funny thing because EverQuest is such a, I guess you could say it's a bit of a slower paced game in the sense of buttons that you need to press to be active. But when you add the social dynamic to it and the need for communication, if you're sincere about being efficient while you're playing, it becomes extremely active. Because like you're what you just described is trying to limit the amount of time experience is not coming into the camp.
Yeah, especially like when we're doing the XP grinding sessions, all the rest of it, those experience pots, why it's daybreak cash, it is still at some point some of my hard earned money, or if it's on a chrono account, like my time that was invested to get that in. It's like I don't give away my time for free in any other aspect. Like, why should I when I'm doing an XP grinding session, especially if it's going to be a grinding session that's going to take 36, 40 hours to finish? Like, yeah, I'm shaving off every second I can get in that aspect.
The were you there for the Planes of Power launch that we did um a couple
I
months?
was I was in the I was in Bigger's raid. I wasn't in the Bush raid.
Okay. How was that experience for you?
Good. Uh, there was like 7 or 8 of us. That was like part of like Bigger's community of degenerates. That were like, well, we're doing this next, doing this next. So it's nice being on that level of a server launch, of a expansion launch. Like talking about the fights and how we're going to get this, and ad hoc trying to come out with like problems that weren't expected along the way, like with the keys and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Did you help? Were you so I you're were you in like the officer channel leading up to the launch to help strategize for all the stuff that we did?
Oh God, no. That's like the leadership deal with that, like uh, Yuzade, Reese, Seeger, and Ace, that level deal with the actual fine planning. Uh, when it was like set up that we're going with the different groups and everything like that, um, that's when like, and Bigger was like leading the second one. That's when like Bigger reached out to various different people that he wanted to advise and help with different aspects, and then we as the group collectively got our guys through it
Right
as
on.
best we could. So
What
it is.
what's that?
No, you go.
What is it for you? What do you think the your favorite parts about playing EverQuest are as opposed to some other game?
Uh, it's just a really like you can't just pick up and play it too much. Like, not to be like any good at it, and like it took me ages to work out how to do very very simple things that are like given to you in tutorials in other games, but like nothing's given to you in Everquest. Like, you earn everything, and obviously it's an easier affair than it was back in the day, but it's still like, that's what I really like about the new server launches as well, because you see a load of people who are obviously super used to playing their ultra geared best in slot Gates of Discord Epic 2.0, Omens of War Epic 2.0 characters come back into Classic, where they're half naked, and then they get killed by a zombie at level 2. It's just like, yeah, this game can be difficult, can't it? It's a
Uh-huh.
bitch. And I like it for
And the relationship with your brother and EverQuest. How do you coordinate all this stuff? How do you manage the time? Because it's not just you, it's Phil too, right? And then it's your own personal life. And then now the Batphone stuff is how do you navigate?
that. I mean, if we're both on, we know that we'll group together. So like, there's no real having to like coordinate a specific time outside of ringing each other and making sure we're awake for raids, because if we've had a ridiculous session the day before on more than one occasion, we have had to ring the other one's wife and just go, yo, you need to make sure he gets up, because otherwise he's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
uh, but that's the real bat phone, when we're calling each other's wives to make sure you get to raid.
Yeah, man.
But
Very cool.
we're very lucky that both our wives totally understand. So they answer the phone, and you
How do
don't even
you
have to say anything. It's just like, oh, I'll do my best.
learn me, please? How do you do it? How do you do it with your significant others?
uh, Honestly, BDE.
BDE?
Yeah, big dick energy.
Oh, you just got to know who you are, how you are, and
um, uh, Honestly, like, I think my wife is happy that I'm upstairs in the office playing video games and not down at the pub getting pissed up. And so,
yeah, that's how it is for my brother. He plays EverQuest too. His name's Queston, and yeah, we've got a similar history of debauchery in our past, and just the fact that he's at home all the time is glorious for the household.
oh yeah, like when me and Phil were younger, we hit everything really really hard, including the partying and stuff. And like, yeah, like our wives are very happy that like the two gamers sat there at the computer. Like, we're not going to get into any trouble.
No, not unless it's um what is relentless insomnia.
Uh,
So what are you looking forward to? Do you think you'll stay on Teak for a while, or do you have any goals? You got the two dragons down. Are you looking at planning something else with Phil?
uh, yeah, well, we're working our way through the Kunark Dragons now.
Oh,
Uh,
you are.
yeah, got Faded Eye down. I need to edit that and upload it. Uh, but again, it's finding the time when there's like a big window where nothing's likely to interrupt us, and we can go off and go do them. But we're definitely planning on staying and seeing this server through. Obviously, originally we wanted to do that with Aridun, but about 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with a heart condition. So I had to have like heart surgery, and like I missed like about a year of game time. And Everquest, at least for me, is one of those where I can't dip in and dip out. Like I build up all of like my little clickies and my buttons, and like I come back after 2, 3 months. I look at my screen, I just like I've got no idea how I play this game anymore. Like there's 50 buttons on my screen. What do these all do?
Yeah.
uh, and then the second that immersion's kind of broken for me, it's game over. It's hard to rekindle it and get back in. But so now that I'm all healthy and all the rest of it, like we want to ride the server to live, and that was the thing above all else that really sold faces to us in that original advert. Like uh, when we were going through the different guild adverts and stuff, like we said, like these guys have done it before and they're going to do it again. Like we're going to fucking be there, you know?
Yeah, that's my goal's the same. The piece that I have to make, like, so the immersion piece is really important to me. And that's why I think I started this podcast was I wanted to get to know the guys and girls I play with, because although my interest in actually playing the game of EverQuest might waver, my connection with the people that I play with, I'd like to foster. So even if I'm not playing the game as much, I'm doing something to help, I guess, socialize or connect with the people I do play with on raid nights and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I want to go to live too. I've never seen past Gates of Discord. So that's kind of my goal is I want to be around for a while and ride the server.
The Gates of Discord and Omens of War, I really like those two expansions. Gates of Discord for the test of balance fight. I just, it's really, really childish. But part of the fight is you have to get these four mobs to go down in increments of 10% of their health, so 90, 80, 70. But it doesn't have to be exactly 70. So I really liked fucking with that fight and making sure that they all were on exactly 69 instead of 70. So that I could then just go, nice. But like everyone like cottoned on to the fact that I was doing that. So like it became a thing that just like 69 was the target for that level. Like just
Uh,
that is the optimum strategy for that fight. Uh, so quite childish generally.
gotta keep the fun, the spirit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that my favorite well, the best experience was the Planes of Power launch. That it was the most challenging experience I've had and the most fun, but those Wrath Council men, those little tribesmen, keeping them all at the same HP
Hmm.
level. I love encounters like that are super challenging.
Yeah, like and everybody has to be on point, and uh the sort of stuff where one person can fuck everybody is great because the pressure's on everyone then, and nobody wants to be that person. And I
I,
mean, touch wood, it's never actually been me yet,
yes,
but it will be one day.
it will
Like,
be. That's my every time. I have a running game with myself. How long can I be in raid without my name being mentioned? Like, that's my goal. And I think I might have went 30 minutes on Planes of Power launch before, Zayd was like, Smouse, where are you? Where are you, Smouse? So, yeah, I'm really glad we connected because, yeah, just there's I love how you lead. I love how you play, and I like watching the videos that you and Phil do. And it's just really cool, and I'm glad we get to share the experience together.
No, thanks. It's been really nice speaking to you this morning. It's again, this social aspect and the connection thing is 1,000,000% the reason why I play it. I heard it described before as Everquest is essentially a chat simulator, vaguely described as a game. I don't think that's really 100% fair, as there's a very difficult game in there if you want to make it difficult. But there's also a real wide selection of characters that you would only find in a 20-year-old, 25-year-old MMO. And I love it for it.
Same. It's there's something about the temperament of the people that still play it that is just I'm right there, you know.
Like when people they get so worked up and like super and when I say people get so worked up, like I include myself. I am one of these people. Like
Same.
I've rage quit to group XP groups before now. Like, I remembered a very quick story. One of my the first enchantment that I played, and before they got nerfs, that are like super god mode more than they are now. And like I was still quite new to playing EverQuest, and I put together a group in the hole for XP, and like I meticulously planned this group to just be like for a pub group. It was going to be the best pub group you've ever been in your life. Like I had two chanters, I had a bard for like additional protection, I had my cleric, I had a mage for the mallow. Like this group was going to fucking wreck. And the warrior that we got just went around and just broke every single mez. And it's
Oh.
just like a really big point. Just kept on doing it, kept on doing it, and I asked him to stop like two or three times. Like on the fourth time, I was just like, oh, screw you. And I just gated out and just let my pet kill them all. Like, I can't. I'm done with this group.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get out, man. One bad apple can ruin the bunch.
Oh, very
And
much so.
it's weird too, because when you're communicating, there's no other game has this ego to it. It's like you're saying something and people they're we get affected by it personally. And so it's not even it stops being about what's right or what makes the most sense. It's like, no, but I'm playing the way I want to play.
How dare you teach my grandmother how to suck eggs?
Right. So last question for you.
Okay.
How long do you think you'll be able to keep manning the bat phones? Are you down for the cause until there's literally no open world mobs?
Yeah. Originally, because I did genuinely talk to my wife before agreeing to do the bat phone, because the bat phone is such a horrific time drain, and like the amount of times that we just
I
sat down to watch a TV show. I remember that like my wife will mockingly make the noise and it's like it's just like yeah.
Man,
uh,
my partner Melissa would lose her goddamn mind if I was doing that. I don't know how you do it, dude. I don't know how big a dick has to be. It's incredible. She would lose her mind. I would not be staying in this house.
uh, to be honest with you, I think she's quite happy to get me out with her hair so she can watch her stuff, because like the TV shows that she can watch whatever she wants. Like I'm not, uh, but the TV show that she watches are quite trashy and really poorly written, and I'm really good at like working out like where stories are going and spotting bits of foreshadowing. And I'm a dick. I can't stop myself. I see something, I'm saying it out, and it's like in the first couple of scenes, and like that's it. The entire way through the show, you can just see her getting more and more pissed off, and just then there's the big reveal. Just like, yeah, you're right. Fuck off.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss sometimes.
So yeah, like if I'm up here for 2, 3 hours at a time, like that's 2, 3 episodes of some dross that I've not ruined for her. So
Right on. Well, is there anything you'd like to share, or I'm gonna leave a link to your, is it okay if I leave a link to your YouTube channel so people can watch the kills as you upload them, the targets
Yeah,
and
sure. Please do. Uh, Occasionally, I stream on Twitch TV, IDTV Gaming. Uh, Very occasionally. But yeah, thank you for having me on. This has been an absolute blast. I had a really good time. Thank you.
yeah, I really hope that people follow you on Twitch, especially for the next Halloween.
Oh God, I thought I was so gonna get through the entire this conversation without cat coming up.
I was crying. I was at work. I work at a warehouse doing manual labor, and I was literally crying at my work desk. Just it was so funny.
I mean,
Uh,
that is the entire point of that poorly imagined idea. Like the very first medical exam in history, like 4,000 years ago, was when did you last? When did you last sing? And when did you last dance? And the shamans would use it as a way to work out when whatever made you ill, and then work backwards from there. Um, I very much tried to reverse engineer that idea by making a point of making myself laugh, sing, or dance as early in the day as humanly possible to prove that I'm okay and I'm still alive and I'm not ill. And when I started doing that, I noticed it had like a really positive benefit to my mental health and my general mood during the day. So the idea of the Bad Bard videos was I was trying really hard to find something that would make people laugh, sing, and dance in just one shot. Uh, Whether or not it hit or not, who knows? But it was a lot of fun making them. So
Very cool. Well, I'm definitely gonna link that video because it worked. It worked a year, 2 years later, 3 years later. So you did catch something. Um, but yeah, I want to end it there. What you just said is extremely profound, and I want to. I'm looking forward to listening back again because there's something there for. I mean, I don't know. I if there's anything like I would I like if there's anything that we could do to help somebody get out of themselves, like I feel for someone who may be going through something that is very difficult and very hard. So yeah, anything that I'm kind of have that same. I've always been trying to speak to the me that was hurt from years ago. And if nobody has told you that they love you, I do.
very,
Tomias,
very close. You're very, very close.
how does it
But
go? Hold on, hold on. Let's do this to end the show.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for having me on your podcast. I appreciate you. And if nobody's told you yet today, I love you.